The Audio Beacon, August 2021. A Teenager's Point of View, from Chloe Wells, age 14. Nature and How the World Can Help. All the time, everywhere I go, my grandparents are talking about numerous hedgehogs and beautiful yellowhammers that they used to see before I was born. Every time they say it, I feel sad. Sad that we never get to see them, at least not like everyone used to. So why can't we? Why can't we bring them back? Why can't we let everyone see the wonders of our earth? It is very possible, but the whole world needs to act in time. Everyone can do their part. Anyone can take part, but only if they have the dedication to step up for nature, only if they have the perseverance, and only if they never give up. In the Old Testament, the Jews were told by our God to care for their environment, and they did an amazing job. So what happened? Why can't we do the same? What is the difference between now and then? Let's start to sort this out again. Nature can thrive, but it just needs our help. Climate change. Climate change is predicted to cause horrible flooding in other countries, and I don't think they should. Why do they have to suffer? Wildfires. California and Australia have been experiencing terrible wildfires which have ruined too many habitats and killed so many animals. So, let's all try and help out more to get the animals to safety or stop wildfires that we often cause. The impact on others. I think there is no point in making huge amounts of money in the short term. No point in ruining our world for our children and grandchildren to deal with when we can do it now. Genesis. In Genesis, God gave us a world to look after, and I think we should look after that world again. Make it better and to how it used to be. We have the knowledge and the tools. Saints. Some saints have always been in tune with the environment and always got on well with the animal kingdom. So why can't we all do the same? I think some people are still like this, and we can care properly for the animals if we try and never lose positivity. This next quote inspired me. It's animals' nature to roam their freedom, but their wilderness keeps shrinking. They don't move because of the seasons anymore. They move because they fear human contact. We cannot change their culture, but we might be able to change their hatred. To survive in our world now, they need trust. Trust in us that we can change things around. So let's make this happen. Let's change things around. If we can respect their lives, I know they can respect ours. Any intelligent species would never destroy their own environment. They would protect it. I come in little things, saith the Lord. We welcome views from the younger members of the Benefice. The Young Christian Climate Network relay to COP26 has been taking place. The walkers will be passing through the Diocese of Oxford again in mid-August, Tring to Oxford to Banbury. A reflection from Reverend Tim. I guess I'm no different to many of you, in that, over a period of many years now, I've collected lots of little books containing reflections of other people's thoughts. They are the sort of books you can pick up, read for a couple of minutes, and come away with a little nugget to chew on for a while. They can also be a very helpful source of inspiration on those days when our own may be wanting. Those days do, of course, happen. Among my own collection of such books are several from the former writer, artist and secretary of the leprosy mission, Eddie Askew. Although I cannot now lay my hands on the piece, I recall of his referring to his granddaughter, asking whether we can ever turn time backwards. At the time, Eddie had to dig a bit into why she was asking such a question. It turned out that she had been with friends earlier and sweets were being shared but had run out by the time they got to her. She had thought that, if we could rewind, she could help things to turn out differently and she might then get a sweet. What a lovely story, and indeed thought to ponder. For all of us, we might wish that we could rewind and enjoy a special moment all over again. Alternatively, that we could replay what we just said and tidy it up a bit. Maybe that we could influence a situation that's past and achieve a different outcome. But life is not like that. Instead, we have the opportunity to think on things that have happened and allow those thoughts to influence how we deal with things in the future. Maybe there is a need within that thinking to apologise for something done or said. On the reverse side of the coin, that we are able to forgive. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, and I've now found how Eddie concluded his article. So, this is his prayer for us. Forgiving Lord, I offer you my failures and regrets. Knowing that I've tried my best must be enough for me right now. I hope you have a great summer with some books to share a lazy time or two. With very best wishes, Reverend Tim. Commemorations this month. 5th of August, St. Oswald. Lived from 604 until the 5th of August, 642. Exiled as a child, he became King of Northumbria from 634 until his death. He is credited with restoring Christianity to Northumbria by instigating and supporting the missionary efforts of Aidan of Lindisfarne. Oswald was a man of compassion. One of the best-known stories describes how, one Easter, when he was about to dine with Bishop Aidan, a crowd of the poor came begging alms. The king gave them not only food, but also the silver dish, to be broken up and distributed among them. Aidan was so moved by this generosity that he grasped the king's right hand and exclaimed, "May this hand never perish!" And Bede tells us that it didn't, for in his day the king's hand, which had been severed in his last battle, was preserved in Bamborough Church. Throne of King stuff, this. 13th of August, Octavia Hill. Octavia was a social reformer and founder member of the National Trust. She campaigned for social housing and for open spaces for people to access. The area has a faint link with Octavia in that Mabel Bowen, who lived at Titcombe and wrote a book on the history of Kintbury, worked with Octavia. 14th of August, Maximilian Kolb, a Franciscan friar who gave his life in place of another. He had the courage to stand against a corrupt and evil regime, was imprisoned and offered his life in exchange for that of a family man. 15th of August is when the Ladywell at Speen is blessed. John of Damascus, in about 700 AD, said, "Water is the most beautiful element, and rich in usefulness, and purifies from all filth, and not only from filth of the body, but from that of the soul, if it should have received the grace of the Spirit." The Church uses holy water. Water has a large role in both Old and New Testaments, often as a place for human encounter with the divine and for healing. In nearly all religions, water is seen as the source of life. We use it for baptism. The earliest known liturgy for blessing water is from the 9th century. The last time I attended the blessing, it was given by our own Reverend Dr. Margaret Yates. Margaret and Nick have left halfway and moved near their daughter and grandchildren at Woburn Sands. We give thanks for their work and service in our communities and churches. The Lloyd Family of Enborn and Beyond by Tessa Locke. On the chancel wall of St. Michael and All Angels, Enborn, is a plaque to the memory of a former rector with a rather unusual Christian name. Noyes Lloyd had been born in Essex and baptised at Epping on the 6th of September 1719. He seems to have taken the traditional route to the priesthood for the time, having graduated with a BA from St. John's College, Oxford in 1742, before being ordained into the priesthood by the Bishop of London at Whitehall on the 9th of June 1745. However, Lloyd's vocation was to take him out of the city and into rural Wiltshire. By 1751, Noyes had become vicar of Bishopstone, as well as rector of the next-door parish of Hinton Parva, near Swindon. The position of parish priest has never been a lucrative one, and this may be why the Reverend Lloyd did not marry until 1763, when he was 43. His bride, 10 years her husband's junior, however, may well have been used to a more affluent lifestyle than the vicarage could offer, since she was Martha Craven, the daughter of the Honourable Charles Craven of Hampstead Marshall, and his wife Elizabeth, Lady Craven. Martha's father had been the first governor of South Carolina in what is now the US. Martha's mother is reputed to have been something of a socialite and a very difficult person, with little time for Martha or her sisters, Mary and Jane. Consequently, Mary left home to make a very unhappy marriage with a horse dealer, whilst Martha worked for a time as a seamstress at a school, using a false name to hide her identity before marrying Noyes. Martha Craven and Noyes Lloyd were married by licence at Bishopstone on the 2nd of June 1763. I do not know why the marriage was by licence rather than banns. There may have been a very simple reason, although I wonder if Martha's difficult relationship with her mother might have caused the couple to arrange their marriage at a short notice, thereby requiring a licence rather than banns. We will probably never know. In the same year that Martha married Noyes, her sister Jane married Reverend Thomas Fowle of Kintbury. Martha and Noyes began their married life at Bishopstone, where 4 children were born to them. The first child, also Martha, was baptised there on the 16th of November 1765, to be followed by Elizabeth on June the 15th, 1767, Charles on December 21st, 1768, and Mary on May 20th, 1771. The Reverend Lloyd's relationship with what is now our Benefice seems to have begun in 1764, when he became domestic chaplain to William Craven, 5th Baron Craven of Hampstead Marshall. Baron Craven was, of course, a relative of Martha Lloyd. These were the days when who you knew, rather than what you knew, could make a really big difference to your life. In 1771, Noyes Lloyd became rector of Enborn, whilst retaining his position at the other parishes, even though they were over 30 miles apart. This was not an unusual situation for the time, when it was quite common for a curate to undertake all the duties of the absent priest. Eventually, the Lloyd family moved to Enborn, where Martha would be much closer to her sister Jane at Kintbury. Their mother, however, was by now also living in Kintbury, at Barton Court, with her second husband, Gemmet Raymond. We can only wonder what Elizabeth Raymond's relationship with her daughters was like by this time. Sadly, there was an outbreak of smallpox in the Enborn area in 1775, and, whilst his sisters survived, Charles Lloyd, then only 6, died. He was buried in the churchyard on the 13th of April that year. Martha's mother, meanwhile, had died in 1771. As if to demonstrate the wealth and status of the Raymond family, an elaborate marble memorial was commissioned from the renowned sculptor Peter Schiermakers to be placed next to the altar in Kintbury Church. A letter written by Noyes Lloyd to his brother-in-law, Reverend Thomas Fowle, regarding arrangements with Schiermakers is still in the church's possession. You might have seen Elizabeth Raymond, formerly Lady Craven, in Kintbury Church. If you happen to be standing in a pew near the front and to the left-hand side of the aisle, possibly singing a favourite hymn, and casually turn your head to the left, there, in her current position in the north transept, will be Elizabeth, stonily staring back at you, as if in disapproval of something, you know not what. Noyes remained as rector of Enborn until his death on February 3rd, 1789. The previous year, his daughter Elizabeth had married her cousin from Kintbury. Fuller Craven Fowle, although Martha and Mary were still living at home. There was a need to vacate the Enborn rectory, but, fortunately for Reverend Lloyd's widow and her daughters, a friend of the Fowles offered them his parsonage at Dean. The move to Dean proved to be quite significant for Martha Lloyd, in particular as she became a close friend of the vicar's daughter, later living with her, her sister, and their mother in Bath. Martha's friend was creative and lively, with a keen, if sometimes wicked, sense of humour. She loved walking, wrote long, detailed letters whenever she was away from her family and friends, and, in particular, would entertain them all by reading to them the stories she had spent hours writing. In this way, Martha Lloyd, formerly of Enborn, became one of the first people to read what have become some of the best-loved novels in the English language. Martha's close friend was none other than Jane Austen. In 1797, the link between the Lloyds and the Austens became even stronger when Mary Lloyd became the second wife of Jane Austen's widowed brother, James. When Jane Austen, along with her mother and sister Cassandra, moved back to their native Hampshire, Martha went with them to share the cottage in Chawton, now the Jane Austen's House Museum. It says something of the position of women in the early 19th century that Martha Lloyd, granddaughter of Lady Craven, with her elaborate and expensive monument in Kintbury Church, had no home of her own except the one she shared with her friends. However, life had another surprise in store for the young woman from Enborn. After Jane Austen's death in 1817, Martha continued to live in the cottage at Chawton with Cassandra Austen. However, on the 24th of July, 1828, she became Sir Francis Austen's second wife, and therefore Lady Austen. Today, the name of Martha Lloyd is well known to Jane Austen fans all over the world. A facsimile of her household book, containing the recipes for dishes she cooked at Chawton, has been published, and earlier this year saw the publication of Jane Austen's Best Friend, The Life and Influence of Martha Lloyd, by Zoe Whedon. So, while Janeites, as fans of Jane Austen are known, all over the world think of Martha Lloyd as Jane Austen's best friend, I will always think of her as the young woman from Enborn. Church Update. COVID situation. We have read the new information from the government and guidance from both the Diocese of Oxford and the Church of England. We are moving with extreme caution, trying to enjoy the new freedoms, but, more importantly, to maintain the high standards of COVID-secure practice which have, so far, kept us all safe in our churches during the last 18 months. This is an evolving situation, such as we are becoming accustomed to, so please check the website regularly for information on our services and how we shall be managing them at www.walburybeaconbenefice.org.uk. Recruitment process. Thank you all so much for your responses to the questions we posed to you around the topic of what you, the community, need from our new vicar. We have read them all and picked out several common themes which seem to be important both to churchgoers and others. We are trying to encapsulate them and give them due significance in the recruitment information. We have become especially aware of the value we all place on our festival and special occasion services, the welcome you receive when you come to them, and, resoundingly, pun intended, the huge importance to everyone of our music. It was also good to hear how many people enjoy and appreciate our churchyards and the buildings, finding peace and comfort within them. Looking forward to a time when we will have a new vicar in place, we shall have to be careful that these hopes and expectations are not overwhelming. Some Thoughts from Enborn by John King. We have been enjoying some beautiful weather, Indeed, too hot for some. Hopefully, Tim and Jane are enjoying the sea breezes at Bracklesham Bay. These are not easy times for the Walbury Beacon Benefice. Fortunately, the leadership team have not just continued to provide us with some wonderful services, their pastoral care has been remarkable. Not only will we be looking for new clergy leaders, the compilation of the benefice itself may well change. Here at Enborn, we continue to struggle with advancing age and infirmity. Under Roger's leadership, enlivened by the occasional poetic verse, we continue to assist each other, sharing news and thoughts about the future. Roger and I continue to enjoy worship in other churches. I love to go to West Woody. The Beacon keeps us in touch with the rest of the benefice and with local affairs. Next month, my official contact with Enborn School ends after almost half a century. One day, I will write formally about those years, but at the moment, I think of the amazing teachers and the children that I have met. I remember the good times and the bad, but above all, I remember how Enborn School has, in that time of much change in education, continued to provide Enborn children with a wonderful Christian education. Finally, I want to share with you my thoughts on a brilliant book. Patrick Whitworth's And Did Those Feet is the history of the development of the Church in England over the course of the last 2,000 years. It is so well organised and written, it is a joy to read. The fluency of Patrick's writing ensures that the complexity of the story is never difficult to follow. For those of us who enjoy cricket, we have a new competition to follow, and the obituary of John Woodcock to read. Few of you will know that Penny and John were friends, and we often talked about him and Long Parish. Sadly, the last person who knew me as a baby, Penny. Hopefully, the final months of summer will provide the benefice with clear thoughts about the future. John King. Summer Haiku. Cottage garden flames, with red-hot poker, stirring noon serenity. Listen as birdsong, with crickets and bees plain chant, sweet carolling makes. Sister Michaela, CS, CI. Anyone in the benefice writing a haiku? Meet Claire Fuller, best-selling author of Unsettled Ground, set locally and nominated for Women's Prize for Fiction, and Bitter Orange, longlisted for International Dublin Literary Award. St Lawrence's Church, West Woody. An interview, a reading and Q&A with books for sale. 11th of August, 6:30 p.m. Tickets £20 per head, including a glass of wine. Please apply to the West Woody Estate Office for tickets. Sharon@woody.com. 50% of ticket sales will be for church funds. Services in Walbury Beacon Benefice for August 2021. Services are subject to change. Please check with our website or church near you for confirmation of services near the day. All our services are subject to the current government restrictions and will require social distancing, wearing of face masks, etc. Please see Jenny's item on COVID situation elsewhere in this issue. Sunday 1st of August, Kintbury, Benefice Service, Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m. Inkpen, Holy Communion, 8:30 a.m. Sunday 8th of August, West Woody, Holy Communion, 11:15 a.m. Inkpen, Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m. Sunday 15th of August, Coombe, Holy Communion, 11:15 a.m. Inkpen, Compline, 4 p.m. Kintbury, Holy Communion, 8 a.m. Enborn, Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m. Sunday 22nd of August, West Woody, Holy Communion, 11:15 a.m. Hampstead Marshall, Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m. Inkpen, Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m. Kintbury, morning prayer, 9:45 a.m. Sunday, 29th of August, West Woody, Compline, 6 p.m. Kintbury, Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m. End thoughts. He that plants trees loves others beside himself. Benefice contacts: Reverend Tim Wood, revtimothywood@gmail.com. Jenny Vasey, jennyvasey@hotmail.com. Benefice office 01635 226 064, email wbboffice@gmail.com. Beacon, pji@crestednewtcomputing.co.uk.